Good morning, everyone. This is Commissioner Scar. Today is Tuesday, May 27th, 2025, and we'll call this meeting to order at 8 a.m. As a reminder, our call-in number is 1-971-254-3149. Conference ID 866-914-607#. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute their phone. You can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute yourself when called to speak, again pressing *6. It is very important for all others to remain muted. Thank you. Okay, we've called to order, so I would like to say good morning to my fellow commissioners. Commissioner Bell, good morning.
Good morning.
And Commissioner Fournier, good morning.
Good morning, everyone.
All right, thank you. Okay, we're going to jump right in. We do not have Adventist Health Tillamook today. Eric was unavailable, so we will jump and see if the Coastal Caucus perchance was able to join us. Do I have either Representative Javity or Senator Weber? Okay, not seeing their numbers or hearing from them, we will go ahead and move ahead to the Tillamook County Community Health Center. Do we have Ed Colson or Corinne with us this morning? Okay, not seeing either of them. And I will keep an eye out. They may jump on. We're moving quickly already this morning at 1 minute after 8. How about the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy? Gail, are you with us this morning?
Yes. Good morning, Commissioner.
Good morning.
Just one announcement for me today. Hospital Road will be closed tomorrow, Wednesday, May 28th. That is so crews can continue to work on some items they need to take care of on Hospital Road. Detour will be clearly marked to take Hall Street. So if you're in the area and would like to visit, please come up Hall Street. Otherwise, we continue to make plans for occupancy this October for the new facility. I think I noted this last week. Orders for equipment and furnishings have been placed, and we're continuing plans for a ribbon cutting and open house with facility tours to express our appreciation to the community and to our many collaborative partners. It will likely be on a Saturday in October. So more details will be shared as they are available. And that's it for the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy in Wheeler this morning.
Thank you, Gail. Appreciate that. And it's just so exciting as every step closer to the opening of the medical center up there. So thank you. And I do see that Camille Sorensen has joined us. Good morning, Camille. We're moving quickly this morning, so I will jump back and look forward to your report. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you. I apologize for joining a little late. I just had one thing, and that was to remind people of the Tillamook County Family Health Day happening on Saturday, the 31st from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Tillamook Junior High Field and Pasadena Activity Center. This event is packed with family-friendly fun, health and nutrition resources, games, community organizations, and some awesome giveaways. The free Adopt a Bike event and also an exciting bike rodeo. Tillamook County Family Health Day is brought to you by the OSU Extension Office, the YMCA, and Tillamook County Wellness. And that is all I have for today.
Wonderful. Thank you. We'll hope to see everybody there. Okay, moving on to Tillamook Family Counseling Center is also unavailable this morning. So we will move on to emergency management. Randy Thorpe, good morning.
Hello, this is Ann.
Oh, hi, Ann. Sorry, I saw Randy first. So good morning, Ann. Welcome.
Good morning. No problem. I'm just here to give a reminder about the Tsunami 101 Roadshow that's coming up in June 4th. There will be two iterations, one in North County hosted at the Pine Grove Community House in Manzanita from 11 to 1, and the second at the Tillamook County Main Library in Central Tillamook from 5:30 to 7:30. This is an opportunity to really hear from the experts. We're going to have people coming in from the National Weather Service, from the Department of Geology and Mineral Industries, and from the Office of Emergency Management to talk about really bridging the gap between the science of emergency management and geological disasters, and what you need to know to be prepared for yourself and your community and your family. So it's just a great opportunity to come, bring your curiosity, bring your questions, and learn more about how we prepare for disasters.
Okay. That it for you this morning?
And that is our only announcement. Thank you.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you. I love the bring your curiosity. I think we're all kind of wonder, the whole tsunami, we've been talking about it for quite a number of years, but it seems like it's gotten kind of into the distant past, and it's probably a good time to refresh. So I invite and encourage people to take that opportunity.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, like I said, we are trucking through here this morning. So we are all ready to our Board of Commissioners. Commissioner Bell, would you like to kick us off this morning?
Yes, thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. I hope you all had a relaxing and meaningful Memorial Day holiday. I know there were a lot of great memorial events throughout the county. I hope you got to enjoy them. I appreciate Ann's announcement about Tsunami 101, and it made me think about when I was learning about the Cascadia subduction zone. I think it was in 2011 as a result of the Tohoku earthquake and subsequent tsunami that was so devastating in Japan. And I worked for the Headlight Herald then, and so I started learning about the subduction zone and the threat here. And it really is fascinating. And it's interesting to reflect. I know Commissioner Scar is a native Oregonian and Commissioner Fournier is not, but it's interesting to reflect on how it's new science. When we were kids and we were growing up, going to school, at least here in Oregon, that we were taught that there were no earthquake threats in Oregon, the same as there were like the Great Fault Lines in California, et cetera. There were no significant earthquake threats in Oregon, and they didn't know about the subduction zone at the time. And so that's relatively recent science, and what we know about it for sure now is that the pressure that's building out there where it's called the subduction zone because the oceanic plate subducts the Pacific, the land plate, and so the North American plate. So where it's sliding underneath, it's creating this tremendous pressure that occasionally has to break. And so they've been able to map how often that's happened in the last 10,000 years. So the important thing to know about that is that it has to happen. There's no way that it's not going to happen because the pressure is building. What we can't know is exactly when it will happen, but they have mapped out how often it happens. So they do know now when it happened last, which was in the year 1700. And there's no written record of that on our coastline because it wasn't inhabited by people who are keeping written records. It was, of course, inhabited by native people, and there are records of it in their storytelling. But there are no written records here on the West Coast of that earthquake and tsunami. However, there are written records of it in Japan because the tsunami was so powerful that it traveled all the way across the ocean and hit villages in Japan. So what I'm getting at is the last time it happened was 325 years ago, and it happens periodically, and it will happen here again. So it behooves us, to Commissioner Scar's point, it seems like it gets kind of distant, like, 2011, that was a long time ago, and we're not thinking about it now. But the timeline that we're working with is much longer than that, and it behooves us to continue to prepare, to get prepared and stay prepared. And part of the challenge of that is encouraging new people, encouraging younger people to get prepared and to care about it, encouraging newcomers to the area to get prepared and care about it, and join a preparedness group, join a neighborhood group, and get active and get involved, because it's going to happen here, and maybe in our lifetimes, maybe not. Maybe next week. We don't know when it's going to happen here, and we will be in a much better position if we're prepared, if we're ready to take care of ourselves and our families and our neighbors. So thank you, Anne, for doing that work, and thanks for talking about it. I wanted to talk just a minute about the election, because I've been talking about the election for a couple months now. And so specific to ballot measure 29-183, where we proposed raising transient lodging tax by 4%. That is currently, that the results of that ballot measure are not yet final. So currently it's 20 votes to the negative, and that's too close to call. So what happens next is we'll get the next official count from the clerk's office on this week on Thursday, and 5 o'clock, I think. And by then, they will have gotten all of your ballots that were mailed in the mail had to be postmarked on election day, but they can still be received for a week after election day. So they can still be received, in the mail processing, received through today, I think Tuesday, and then counted and reported on Thursday. And so there could still be ballots in the mail. No one knows. And also there are a number of ballots that had challenged signatures. So people's signature had changed over time. And that's interesting, because the clerk's office is trained to recognize, to look at every single signature in our election, in a local election, and match it against our signature on file. So if your signature has changed significantly and they can't match it, then they send you a letter and say, hey, come, update your signature. And so you still have a chance to do that. And also people who didn't sign the ballot envelope. So people got letters for their challenged signatures. They got letters for the no signature on the envelope, and they're invited to come back into the clerk's office and sign. So 20 votes difference, too close to tell. We don't have the final result yet, and we will talk about that again next week, when the election won't have been certified by next week, but I'll be happy to give an update next week. So that's all I have for this morning. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Bell. Appreciate that, and appreciate the history reminder on the tsunamis. I remember when we had the distant tsunami, and I was at that time the executive director of CARE, and we had the Nehalem Bay House, which sits firmly in the inundation zone per the maps. And, no one knew what to do. It was a very scary time, and we had families calling from out of area wanting to know if their seniors were okay. We had staff saying, I gotta go, I gotta save myself. I mean, it was a lot of confusion. And so I think it's really important for us to continue to talk about this, so that we don't lose the knowledge that we've gained about the difference between a distant tsunami and a local tsunami, and an Alaskan tsunami, which is kind of in the middle of those, and everything that we should know. So if, as you're listening to Commissioner Bell and I talk, you're thinking, I don't know, please do attend one of the meetings, or you can do a little research online, but it's just good to know where we stand and what we need to be prepared to do here in Tillamook County. So thank you. Thank you, Commissioner Bell. I appreciate that. Okay. Moving on. Commissioner Fournier, what do you have for us this morning?
I don't have much, but I appreciate you both speaking about the preparedness. But I'm going to talk about the fact that you can still get out and enjoy yourself on the water, even though we have this pending doom coming. It's just about being prepared. But this holiday weekend was a beautiful weekend here. We were very lucky. I had some friends in town from Boston, so I was able to take them crabbing in Netarts Bay, and I took them out on a guided fishing tour with Kelly Aw, who is a now retired sheriff's deputy. I worked with him as a Marine deputy, so he kind of knows his stuff. And we were the only boat out there in the bay that was able to get into a fish. Unfortunately, my friend's son was handling the rod, and the fish popped off. So we did not get a salmon. We did get crab though. So it was a wonderful weekend. I did notice, of course, traffic was increased. And I did notice down at the schooner here in Netarts, quite a few cars parked in the county parking lot. I want to remind people that that is a user fee area, and the county counts on that money for maintenance. We are going to be repaving that parking lot, but it's really helpful if people pay. And that goes into the next part, is that with the county, we are working on increasing our code enforcement. We had a great presentation last week from the Manzanita code enforcement officer, and they described how they use how that program is done, and we're going to be doing something very similar in the county in the unincorporated areas. So I just want to tell people, yes, we have to be prepared, but also let's get out there and enjoy what we have while we can. Summer is short here. We should all be getting out there and making sure we enjoy it as well as the visitors. So that's all I've got. I want to keep this rolling. I know everybody seems to be anxious to get off today. So everybody have a great day. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Commissioner, and absolutely get out and enjoy. We do live in a beautiful place, and we don't want to miss those opportunities. I have just a couple things. You may have noticed I was not here last week. I was traveling with my parents, and which was a wonderful opportunity. I think, as we get older, the opportunity to be with our family also getting older is something that we should never pass up. So I appreciate your grace with me as a commissioner, as I took some time with my parents. While I was there, however, I did attend a couple of meetings. One of them was for the Forest Trust Land Advisory Committee, which is, as you hear me talk often, it's the group of trust land counties that provide input to the state forester and to the Board of Forestry. We've talked a lot about the Habitat Conservation Plan. We are now into the next steps of implementing that, which includes a new forest management plan, because those two documents partner together. So the Habitat Conservation Plan has set aside specific lands in the forest that will be protected for habitat for endangered species. The forest management plan is how do we manage the forest areas around those habitat conservation areas for greatest permanent value. And that includes harvest, it includes recreation, it includes additional conservation, it includes how we deal with our streams, how we take care of our fisheries. All of those things are embedded in greatest permanent value. And the forest management plan is an opportunity to say, here's the metrics that we will monitor to ensure that we're meeting greatest permanent value under the restrictions and opportunities of the Habitat Conservation Plan on the land. So we the Department of Forestry did some modeling, which looked at how does the potential ways of harvesting in this outside the habitat conservation areas affect things like carbon storage. How does it affect the environmental cover of the land? How many big trees? How much of that do we need to have? And then also, how does it impact the millions of board feet that can be harvested conservationally minded, and the dollars those generate for local government, which is how this whole structure was set up, was that the harvest provides some of the general fund that we need to run our government, as well as the money that the Department of Forestry needs to manage the lands. So the models were great to look at. We looked at those on Friday. Commissioner Fournier was there with me as well. And we're not choosing one model. We're just looking at the trade-offs of, if we harvest more in this time frame, how does that impact the other metrics that we need to look at? Or if we harvest bigger trees or smaller trees. And so it's just a really good look at how the different inputs that you could choose from in the forest will impact what the forest will look like in the future. So there will be a meeting with the Board of Forestry on June the 4th, where the Board of Forestry will receive the same information that we did, and they will have the opportunity to look at the models, to look at the outcomes, and to talk through sort of what metrics they want to see ultimately, and to talk about how they might want to put together the different inputs: big trees, small trees, young trees, older trees, all of that work to say, this is kind of the direction we want the management plan to go. So they will not make a decision on this until September, but we had a chance to talk with department staff. We will have a chance to talk with both the board and department staff together on June 4th. And then we'll have time to kind of go back and forth over the summer. And then the Board of Forestry will, of course, be making that decision, and that will be in September. So great meeting. It is a recorded meeting if you're curious to see what those models looked like, and what the thoughts were among staff and among the commissioners who were present that day. And of course, the Board of Forestry meeting will be on their YouTube channel as well, if you'd like to watch that live on the 4th, or if you'd like to watch the recording. So just kind of keeping everybody up to date on that piece of the puzzle. And with that, let's see, I'm headed this morning to the Tillamook Lightwave meeting, and we have our budget committee for that at 9 a.m. this morning, and our regular meeting begins at 9:30. If you're interested in knowing what's happening with broadband across the county, that's a great meeting to come and listen to the grants that we're hoping will be received and what areas that would extend broadband to. So another meeting you're welcome to attend, and that is available remotely or in person at the PUD in the Carl Raw meeting room. And then I will jump at 11 to our Salmonberry Trail Intergovernmental Agency meeting. We are looking at how we may change the structure for how the Salmonberry Trail is managed and developed. And that meeting is also a public meeting. You can find that information on Oregon Parks is who does that. So it's the State Parks Division has that meeting, and we'll be broadcasting it. So lots of great things going on. And then, I think there's a few other things coming up this week, but nothing super exciting for those of you in the public, but I'll be back to talk about what fun things I've done. With that, I am going to go ahead and wrap up the commissioner section of this meeting, and we will move on to our cities, beginning with the city of Manzanita. I believe we have Mayor Stock.
Yes, you do. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Thank you. I've got 3 things this morning, 2 in the lines of meetings and in community input, public input, and then the other a shout out and a thank you. The first, we will have our final budget meeting for this round of meetings for the 25-26 budget tomorrow night at 6 p.m. That's the council meeting in special session, and that will follow on a lot of hard work and great contributions from both the council, but also our citizen members of that community who helped go through that and help us make sure we were in good shape with the budget for the following year. So that's tomorrow night at 6. We are also continuing a series of workshops and community input or public comment sessions as we move towards finalizing the changes to our zoning ordinance and subdivision and land partition ordinances. This work's been going on for months now, and the next couple of things I'd call out is our Planning Commission has a session on June 2. That's a workshop where they're continuing to kind of finalize and finish up what they will be proposing. And then on June 9th, there will be a public hearing hosted by the Planning Commission about that. Those are both available to the public via Zoom. We will be in our regular channel. If you're not comfortable with Zoom, we will be so grateful to be in our new city hall after this summer. So all of these kinds of meetings can be held in person, which I think we'd all agree is a friendlier and easier place for a lot of people to speak up rather than online. So, but anyway, we'll continue with that and make sure we get as much public comment as we can. So those are 2 meetings coming up this week. And then I'd like to give a thank you regarding our Memorial Day celebration here in the Nehalem Bay area. So the Nehalem American Legion Cemetery, which many of you may already be familiar with, is the site for a Memorial Day recognition ceremony. And we had that yesterday at 11. It was beautiful. It was beautifully done. It's just quite moving. We had about 200 people show up for that. It is sponsored by the Nehalem Valley Historical Society. And I would like to call out in particular a local volunteer, Eileen Nordquist, who's been instrumental in pulling together the support and the community involvement to get that cemetery cleaned up and kept in good shape on an ongoing basis. And then also was the person, with others, of course, who helped organize the ceremony yesterday. It's lovely to see our fire and rescue department out in force, and they were all there in uniform lined up, and they were the folks who, along with the help of some scouts, went around and marked the graves of the veterans who are buried there, and there are a considerable number of them. So I'd just like to thank the community and thank the Nehalem Valley Historical Society for making sure we have a meaningful and good ceremony to honor our veterans on Memorial Day. And that's it from Manzanita. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mayor. Okay, I did receive notice from Mayor McNeely in Rockaway that he would not be able to join us today. So we're moving quickly through our cities. The next city we would have is Bay City with Mayor Leanne Welch. Good morning.
Good morning. I just have a few things this morning. Bay City has coffee with the mayor and city manager at 9:30 this morning at City Hall. So people are welcome. We have generally a robust conversation. We just opened the Bay City campground for the season. So we have camping for hiker-biker. We have tent sites and we have RV sites. There's no reservations and it's first come, first serve. And so when all the other campgrounds are full, it's a nice place to camp. And the last thing I have is that we have a planning commission vacancy. So for those that in our community that are interested in development and what's happening with what's going on in Bay City for upcoming development, you might want to throw your hat in the ring. And that's all I have for Bay City today. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate that. Okay, and then we have our new city manager for the city of Tillamook, Sean Lewis, I believe, is with us this morning. Good morning, Sean.
Today we have our TURA, the Tillamook Urban Renewal Agency, and our city budget hearings tonight beginning at 5:30 here at City Hall. So invite all of the Tillamook residents to come out and share your thoughts on how your tax dollars are being spent by the city. That's all we have for Tillamook today. Hope everybody had a great holiday weekend.
Thank you. Appreciate you being with us. There are budget meetings galore, so we do encourage everyone to get involved, understand where your tax dollars are going. There's a lot of good work being done with them. Okay, with that, I think that we have wrapped up in record time today. So I would just like to thank everyone for listening today. I'd like to thank KTIL for broadcasting, and we will adjourn this meeting at 8:27 a.m. Thank you.